What if the most dangerous idea you've ever inherited is the belief that you're just a spectator in this universe? That the world happens out there while you respond in here? From childhood, we're trained to see ourselves as responders, not creators. We're told the world is made of hard matter and we are soft minds, reacting, adapting, surviving. But science, particularly quantum physics, whispers a different truth. And it isn't just science. The ancients knew this too. From mystics in India to sages in Greece, there was always a thread of wisdom that said, consciousness comes first. We're taught to bow before facts, before the idea that only what we can measure is real. But the quantum realm laughs at this rigidity. In the subatomic world, particles behave like waves until we observe them, until consciousness steps into the room. They collapse into form not by force, but by attention. Do you see what that means? It means that what we focus on doesn't just feel more real, it actually becomes more real. Observation alters outcome. You are not a bystander, you are an influencer of matter, an unseen sculptor shaping the world from the inside out. Most people live their lives trying to manipulate form. More money, more attention, more love, more success. But the deeper current flows below that. It's not about moving pieces on the board, it's about realizing you're the board itself. You are the space in which life unfolds. Your consciousness is not an afterthought, it is the medium in which the universe dances. Think of a movie projector. The images you see on the screen come from light passing through a film reel. We shout at the screen, wishing it were different. But the real source lies behind us, in the projector. Your mind is that projector. Your beliefs, emotions, and assumptions act as the real. Life merely plays out the scenes you've encoded. This can feel overwhelming at first. After all, who wants to be told that their reality is their responsibility? It's far easier to blame circumstance, bad luck, or even fate. But consider this. If you've been powerful enough to manifest struggle unconsciously, imagine what becomes possible when you begin doing it consciously. What might you create if you stopped outsourcing your power to external events? There's a strange relief that comes with this understanding. You no longer need to control every variable. Instead, you shift the central axis, your awareness. What am I focusing on? What am I believing? Who am I being? These questions matter more than any checklist or 5-year plan. Because here's the hidden truth most systems of thought forget to tell you. Your thoughts aren't weak. They aren't vapor floating aimlessly through an indifferent sky. They are frequency-emitting mechanisms that touch the very substance of space. Your thoughts ripple out like pebbles in a pond, subtly coaxing particles into positions that align with your vibration. And yet, this isn't about perfection. You don't need to control every thought. It's not about spiritual paranoia. It's about coherence, alignment, integrity between what you say, feel, believe, and expect. Life loves clarity. It echoes back to you what you are coherent enough to sustain. So ask yourself gently, where in my life am I still waiting for permission to feel whole? What parts of me are still living under the illusion that I must achieve something out there to be enough in here? These aren't surface-level questions. They dig into the very root of your identity. And that's where the shift begins. Not in chasing new outcomes, but in becoming a new observer. When you shift from the illusion of passivity to the reality of participation, something awakens. You feel it. A hum in your bones, a remembering, as if the universe has been quietly nodding all along, waiting for you to see what it has always seen in you, a creator, not a consequence, a field, not a fragment. And in that moment, reality changes, not because it must, but because it cannot help it. It's easy to wish for change. We all do it, daydreaming of a better job, a healthier relationship, more confidence, a deeper sense of peace. But have you ever noticed how often people speak affirmations or visualize goals only to watch nothing change? It's because they're operating from the surface, not the source. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. What you are is a frequency, a field, a collection of emotional patterns, habitual thoughts, and unconscious expectations humming beneath the skin of your words. You can't trick the field with polite lies or spiritual language. The quantum realm speaks vibration, not vocabulary. It is your internal state, not your outward performance, that becomes the instruction set for reality. Take a moment to feel the difference. Imagine someone saying, "I trust life," while their chest is tight, their stomach clenched, their mind racing. Now imagine someone saying nothing at all, but exuding a quiet calm, a relaxed breath, a steady gaze. Which one is the stronger signal? Which one is the real command to the field? We often think change requires effort, but more effort from a dissonant state only creates more dissonance. You can't manifest peace from a place of fear. You can't manifest love from a place of shame, not because you're being punished, but because those vibrations are incompatible. Just like a radio cannot receive a jazz station while tuned to heavy metal, you cannot receive a life of harmony while broadcasting inner chaos. This is why emotional healing is not separate from manifestation. It is manifestation. Every time you transmute anger into compassion, fear into curiosity, doubt into trust, you are altering the signal you send into the field. And the field adjusts, not with fireworks or fanfare, but with quiet reconfigurations. New people arriving, doors gently closing, unexpected clarity settling over old confusion. Life shifts, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally tuned in. Some people call this alignment. Others call it coherence. But whatever name you choose, the truth remains. The outer world can't help but organize itself around the tone of your inner being. And this brings us to the most confronting truth of all. Your life, as it exists right now, is a perfect reflection of your inner frequency. That's not a judgment. It's a map. It tells you where you've been vibrating, not where you're stuck, but where your energy has made home. And if that map shows you something painful, something you no longer want to repeat, then it's time to shift, not your actions, but your essence. This doesn't mean you must become a master of positivity overnight. In fact, false positivity is just another mask of fear. The real power lies in emotional honesty, in noticing your vibration with compassion rather than condemnation. Ask yourself, what emotion is running the show today? Is it survival, desperation, resentment? If so, don't judge it. Feel it. Let it breathe. Emotions, like waves, only crash when resisted, but once felt fully, they move on, making space for something new. You are not your emotions, but you are the tuner. And when you begin to tune consciously, when you slow down long enough to observe your inner weather without flinching, you gain access to the control room of reality. Not as a god trying to dictate life, but as a symphony conductor bringing harmony to chaos. Your thoughts matter, your emotions matter, but above all, your state of being matters. It is your essence, not your effort, that shapes the field. So the question is not, what do I want to create? But rather, what am I available for in this state? Because the universe is not personal, it is precise. It doesn't grant your wishes. It reflects your frequency. And maybe, just maybe, the key to the life you long for is not out there, waiting. Maybe it's already encoded in the version of you who dares to feel different, now. You walk through life thinking it's a sequence of events. A job interview here, a breakup there. A lucky break, a sudden illness, a missed train that led to a chance meeting. But underneath this string of seemingly disconnected episodes, something much deeper is unfolding. Life is not random, it's reflective. It is mirroring you back to yourself, your assumptions, your energy, your unconscious declarations. This doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means everything is your feedback. The universe is a mirror, not a judge. It doesn't punish, it reflects. The question is never, why did this happen to me? But, what is this showing me about my state of being? Because behind every situation is a signal. And behind every signal is you. Have you ever noticed how certain patterns repeat? You leave one relationship only to attract another partner with the same issues. You switch careers, yet the same frustrations follow. The settings change, but the script feels eerily familiar. That's not coincidence, it's resonance. Until your frequency shifts, life must continue sending you versions of the same lesson. Not to hurt you, but to wake you. Imagine your inner state like a tuning fork. Whatever you vibrate, the universe echoes. Not to test you, but to make you conscious. Because once you become conscious, you can choose. And once you choose differently, the pattern dissolves. This is not about blame. This is about power. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility sets you free. The quantum world tells us that reality is not fixed until observed. But here's the twist. Your observation is colored by your beliefs. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing your version of it. Your brain is not a camera, it's a filter. It bends reality to match your expectations, like light refracting through tinted glass. So when something painful repeats, ask not, why is this happening again? But what belief is asking to be healed? Let's ground this. Say you carry a belief, deep down, that you're unworthy of love. Maybe it was formed in childhood, a wound long forgotten. On the surface, you crave intimacy, but the field doesn't receive your words. It receives your wound. So it organizes people, events, and emotions that confirm your inner blueprint. You feel rejected, not because the world is cruel, but because your field says, this is what love looks like. And reality nods, obedient. Here lies the crux. Life cannot show you what you refuse to become. You don't get the life you want. You get the life that matches your emotional signature. When you shift your identity, when you begin to walk, speak, and feel from a place of worth, the mirror changes, not instantly, but inevitably. The world must reassemble to meet the new you. But let's go deeper. This is not just about healing the past, it's about creating from the future. What would it feel like to live as if your desires were already fulfilled? Not pretending, not forcing, but actually embodying the version of you who doesn't chase love but radiates it, who doesn't hustle for abundance but exudes it. That feeling, that embodied frequency is the language the field understands. Speak it fluently and life responds. This is why change often feels so elusive, because people wait for their reflection to smile before they do. But the mirror can't smile first. You must. You must emit what you wish to receive. That's the paradox and the power of quantum living. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So what are you? What are you broadcasting without realizing it? What unspoken contract are you signing with the universe each morning through your self-talk, your posture, your silence? These are not rhetorical questions. They are invitations to wake up, to participate, to finally understand that life is not an opponent to be conquered, nor a riddle to be solved, but a dance partner, waiting for your lead. Let's begin where most people never do, within. You've likely been told to visualize, to set goals, to repeat affirmations. And while these practices can be useful, they're often incomplete. Because without a coherent internal signal, all those tools become noise. You are not a beggar petitioning the universe. You are a broadcaster. And the clearest signal comes from inner alignment, not external striving. Manifestation doesn't begin with thinking, it begins with being. Before you can see the result in form, you must become its frequency in essence. This is the foundation of tuning your field, embodying the state of what you desire before it arrives. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are ready to receive. So how do you do that? First, by noticing your narrative. Your inner monologue is a stream of code being transmitted into the quantum field. I'm always behind. Nothing ever works out for me. People don't respect me. These are not harmless thoughts. They are instructions. They are the emotional equivalents of telling the quantum field, keep this loop going. The work begins when you interrupt that loop, when you start to choose a new story, not by force but by repetition. At first it feels fake. I am worthy. I am abundant. I am safe. The old system resists. It kicks and screams. But if you stay with it, if you don't run at the first sign of inner discomfort, something remarkable happens. You begin to believe. Not because you tricked yourself, but because belief is simply the result of practiced thought fused with emotion. You may wonder, what if I don't feel abundant? What if I don't feel worthy? That's okay. You're not trying to lie to yourself. You're trying to activate a new channel. Emotions follow focus, and focus is a choice. Begin with gratitude, not for what you lack, but for anything that lifts you. The smell of rain, the way sunlight hits your pillow, the quiet miracle of breath. Gratitude tunes you gently into receiving mode. And that's the doorway. Next comes embodiment. This is where tuning becomes transformation. Embodiment means carrying yourself as if your intention has already happened, not because you're delusional, but because you're aligning with its energy. Want to feel respected? Stand with the posture of someone who respects themselves. Want to feel loved? Speak to yourself the way you wish someone would. This is not fake it till you make it. This is practice it until it's natural. The more consistently you embody the energy of the life you want, the more magnetic you become. People sense coherence. Life responds to coherence. The more your thoughts, emotions, and actions agree with each other, the clearer your signal. When your energy is scattered, when you say one thing, feel another, and do something else, the field picks up static. But when you're congruent, you become a tuning fork, and life cannot help but harmonize with you. This does not mean that life will never challenge you again, but it does mean you'll meet challenges from a grounded, centered state. You'll no longer collapse into fear or chase after validation. Instead, you'll respond, not from desperation, but from design. And slowly, the shift becomes visible, not in giant cinematic moments, but in the subtle geometry of your day-to-day life. Synchronicities increase. People show up. Ideas find you. The gap between thought and form shortens, because you're no longer pushing reality, you're dancing with it. So tune your field not by force, but by frequency. Not by hustling, but by holding. Not by doing more, but by becoming more of who you already are beneath the noise. Because the universe does not hear your words, it hears your signal. There comes a moment in your inner journey where the idea of manifestation begins to dissolve. Not because it's false, but because it's incomplete. You realize that the goal was never just to attract better things. It was to become someone for whom those things are a natural expression. You no longer ask, how do I get what I want? Instead, you ask, who must I become so that what I seek is inevitable? At this point, you stop trying to bend reality. You begin to realize you are reality, or more precisely, you are an extension of the same field that gives birth to it. The observer and the observed are one. The drop and the ocean are indivisible. And when you live from this space, not as a self trying to get somewhere, but as awareness expressing itself, something exquisite happens. You no longer manifest from lack. You create from presence. The shift is subtle. You're no longer using the field to achieve outcomes. You are the field, choosing to express coherence, beauty, love, clarity, not for gain, but for alignment. Life starts to feel less like a puzzle and more like a dance. The steps aren't always predictable, but your presence becomes so steady, so resonant, that the dance floor rearranges itself to meet your rhythm. This is the art of living as cause, not as control, not as force, but as pure alignment. And from this place, creation becomes effortless. Why? Because effort implies resistance, and when you are in harmony with the field, resistance disappears. You don't need to make things happen. You magnetize what matches your signal, simply by being that signal. People who embody this don't need to prove, persuade, or perform. They speak softly, but their presence fills the room. They don't chase, they invite. They don't predict, they attune. Their lives unfold with a quiet power that cannot be faked, because it isn't sourced from ego, It's sourced from essence. You may have met someone like this. A person who makes you feel seen without trying, who moves through the world with a kind of grace that doesn't depend on outcomes. This isn't charisma, it's coherence. It's what happens when someone stops trying to control the mirror and instead polishes the light within. The mirror, as always, reflects. This way of being is not reserved for mystics or monks. It's available to you now. The path isn't linear, there's no curriculum, just a deepening, a daily choice to return to presence, to ask, again and again, am I living as the cause or reacting as the effect? When something unwanted arises, you don't deny it. You feel it, you honor it, but you don't hand over your authorship. You stay rooted in the truth. I create reality by how I relate to it. That's not spiritual bypassing, that's spiritual mastery, choosing the state from which you engage with life, no matter what life presents. And as this practice deepens, even your desires begin to change. You no longer want things to fill the void. You want things that expand your essence. You stop manifesting from fear and start creating from clarity. Not to fix who you are, but to express who you've remembered yourself to be. This is the quiet revolution. Not of doing more, but of being more. Not by accumulating, but by attuning. You become less concerned with what's next and more in love with what is. Paradoxically, that's when everything begins to arrive. Not as a reward, but as a reflection. So ask yourself one last time, am I living as the field or still chasing shadows on its surface? Am I the cause or the echo? And if I truly believe that my frequency shapes the fabric of the world, how would I walk through today? You already have the answer, not in theory, but in feeling. And the moment you trust it, reality shifts to match. If you've made it this far, know this, your awareness has already begun shifting. You've peeled back the veil and glimpsed what's always been quietly guiding your life, the unseen frequency of your inner world. This isn't about theory or belief. It's about being, about choosing to live with a new kind of presence, one rooted not in fear, but in alignment, not in force, but in trust. The quantum field is not some far-off mystery. It is here, now, responding to every breath, every intention, every moment you return to coherence. And it is yours to tune, not because you must earn your worth, but because your worth has never been in question. So take this with you. You are not here to chase reality. You are here to shape it. With every step you take in awareness, the universe listens. And if you let it, life will rise to meet you. Not in resistance, but in rhythm. If this message stirred something in you, share it. Let the ripple continue. And if you're ready to deepen this journey, subscribe or leave a comment below. Your energy is the invitation, and the field is listening. Always.